Hello and welcome to another episode of the So Here For It podcast. I am your host, Amy Mingan, and today we are talking about discipline and consistency. This is the sequel. If you haven't already heard discipline versus consistency frequency episode, go back and have a listen to that. And then this will be like the best sequel to listen to afterwards, right? So I want you to have a think about the last time that you were disciplined, because people will have this negative association with discipline. They think that discipline is like having a military person telling you what to do, and it just doesn't have to mean that at all. Being consistent is different to having discipline. Both are necessary as part of having a great life, but also being able to grow. Because if you're undisciplined, let's have a think about the version of you who is undisciplined. That undisciplined version doesn't necessarily hit their goal for their protein for the day, doesn't necessarily walk, doesn't get sunshine, doesn't post on social media, doesn't hit the income goals, doesn't follow up with the person, etc., etc., etc. You can see how if you're undisciplined in one area of life, it is going to flow on to other areas of life. Now, I want you to compare it to if you were consistent. Consistency is more so showing up. It doesn't have to be at the exact same time of day, and it doesn't even need to be in the exact same way. But consistency means that you are showing up and doing similar things in similar ways most of the time. It's in a consistent pattern. I would see discipline if we were to draw a circle, for example. Imagine a circle, a perfect circle. That's like the expectation and standard of discipline. Whereas consistency might look a little bit like a kid has drawn the circle. Like it's a little bit wobbly. You're going to get all the way around. It's sort of a circle and it might look a little bit like a flower, and you're eventually going to get all the way back around to do a full 360, but it's not going to necessarily look like a perfect circle. So I want you to think about, what are you consistent with? Because when I talk to the women inside Women of Value, that's the mastermind that I run. We're just about to go in and open the doors again, which is so exciting. The women inside Women of Value, often they think they're behind. They think they're behind because they're not posting every day, or they haven't quite got all their emails sorted, or they haven't put their freebie out, or they haven't tested something inside their business during the time that we're together. But are they being consistent? This is what I ask them. They're expecting discipline, but I'm suggesting that they be more consistent. Now, consistency looks like, what is the bare minimum? What is your is what I say. So what are you walking on every single day? That's the foundation of your business. That's the foundation of your life. Like, it's very rare to meet a person who forgets to eat for an entire day, right? You're going to remember to eat. You're going to remember to drink at least a little bit of water. You're going to remember some of the healthy habits that you have every single day. There would be a baseline of what you do with your health every day. So therefore, there would also be a baseline of what you do for your business every single day. Now, it's about figuring out what's going to be consistent for you, because one person inside Woman of Value, we're tweaking her business model so she can set herself up to only do packages, but she was booked so far in advance with all of her one-on-one once-off sessions. We needed to close her books. At the time of her joining was June. She needed to close the October books so she could only sell the packages from there. But that took a huge amount off her plate, right? She's like, oh, wow, but what do I do when I get there? Well, that's easy. You start selling packages. But how does she actually be consistent? How does she actually show the discipline to line herself up with that type of person who is selling packages at that stage? Because quite frankly, it is a well-worn track for her to have all of these once-off clients all the time and only getting paid X amount of dollars per week. Like, I'm so done with people only getting about $50 a week, and yet they're working like full-time hours. I just go, why? Like, surely these people are changing lives. You are worth so much more. So you're very disciplined in the way that you work hard. But how about we bring some discipline into the way that you do your business model, the way that you look after yourself, the way that you are changing your business model, if that's what is relevant for you right now. But maybe you're at a different stage of business. Maybe you actually just want some more one-on-one clients and you're like, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not so consistent. So for that lady who is creating the packages that are all rolling out in October, she's different to another one who's just started out. She wants more one-on-one clients. She wants to be super consistent on her stories every day. She is selling. She is letting people know how they can work with her. She's talking about the transformation that is available to people. She lets people know every single different angle of what she can help them with. She's very consistent with selling. Now, anybody who says to me, I need more clients, isn't selling enough. And if that makes you feel ick, listen up to this. It's only because somewhere out in society it had felt ick in the past. It doesn't mean that you have to feel ick selling your services, and it doesn't even have to mean that you have to sell per se. What I mean by selling is making sure that people know who you are, who you help, the transformation you bring, and how much it is. That's it. You invite them, it's up to them to make the decision whether that rings true for them or not. And if it feels good for them, they're going to say yes. It's up to you to put together your marketing plan so that it does speak to them. Can you see how this all starts to fit together? The more consistent you are, the more clients you attract, the more disciplined you are, the more consistent you can be. But you don't necessarily always have to be disciplined in that really negative sense. In fact, discipline leads to momentum, and then consistency is what keeps it going. Does that make sense to you? I just want you to know that once you have momentum, that's actually what creates the safety when you're in business, because there's so many people out there that feel so unsafe in their business. And that's often what makes people stop. They haven't got enough cash flow to then make it through those tighter times, which I call winter. It might happen during winter. For a lot of people, it does. It's not abnormal to have a winter season. That might be 12 weeks of low numbers. And then all of a sudden you're having exponential months after that. But do you have enough in order to move through that without having to close your business, without having to go and get a job at Kmart, without having to freak out and go and borrow money off somebody? So that's actually what we're building. It teaches you to build that consistency in yourself, which builds trust in yourself. And while you're doing that, you're actually exuding that to your audience. So you think about, how often are you showing up on social media? How often are you sending an email to your list? How often do you happen to meet somebody new and let them know exactly what you do and with whom? And let that person decide whether you're someone who they would refer to, or, wow, that's so needed in our population. And let them ask you a question about it. So it's not icky to talk about yourself. It's not icky to claim your expertise. And it's certainly not icky to offer your service if somebody's asking you about it. I want you to let go of this ickiness around selling, and even the word selling if you need to. Because remember, if you're not inviting anybody in, how do they know that you're open? I will take you through a very short visualization. I want you to, if it's available to you, just close your eyes. And we're going to take a deep breath in and out. I want you to really land in your body. I want you to imagine that your business is a building. Imagine what your business would look like if it were a building. It's its own entity. And if you are open for business, how many lights are on your building? I want to know, is there a big neon sign that says I'm open for business? Is there like really big LED lights on the outside that are flashing? Is there something nice that attracts people? And if not, inside your visual, I want you to enhance how bright and how attractive your business looks. Now, this might sound quite woo-woo, and maybe it is. But this is you intention setting. This is you allowing yourself and your business to be open, allowing people to see you, allowing people to know that you are available for them. Because there is a secret thing behind somebody who isn't disciplined, who isn't consistent. They're actually lacking visibility. And there's something inside the nervous system that blocks us from wanting to be visible. So it's not something that you necessarily are aware of. It happens subconsciously. But if any of this stuff is ringing true to you, if you feel like you just can't show up, or you don't have the ideas, or you have too many ideas and you don't know which one to take action on, these are all visibility cues to me. So I want you to start by building trust with yourself. Now, the trust comes from getting visible, feeling safe to turn all those lights on so people can see you. And if you haven't already, come back into the room. And I want you just to notice in the next 24 hours how many more people reach out to you. There are so many more doors open. There are so many more lights on. People get to know who you are. And I'm going to give you a challenge as part of this episode, because in order to become magnetic, people have to actually become more attracted, right? If you think about the opportunity of a magnet, if the person with the problem has, say, the negative side of their magnet, and you are the positive and you have the solution, you can see how the negative and the positive go together, right? That person's going to be attracted to you because you have the solution. They are sitting inside their pain and you want to help them through with your solution. So I want you to think about, what is that? What is that you bring your clients? How can you be more magnetic? Usually, you don't even need to change anything. It's about becoming more articulate about what you do and how you help. And the clients will very easily feel this sense of clarity. They'll feel this sense of all of a sudden their confusion goes away, and they're going to feel more confident in your presence. And that's what makes them reach out to you. All of a sudden, it feels like a veil has been lifted. But the reason why the veil has been lifted is because not only are you articulating it better, you are open for business. You have turned all the lights on. You say, hello, I am open for business. And if this works for you, set an intention every single day. I remember way back in the beginning, when I first started doing money mindset work, I used to use a paper diary, and I still do write, okay? I used to use this paper diary, and I would write at the start of the week, like how much I wanted to make. And I kid you not, every single week it came true. Even when I'm like, I'm looking at my calendar, there's not that many people booked in. By the end of the week, I would always hit those goals because I wrote it down. This is the power of intention. So if that works for you, go ahead and do it. But I want you to every single day turn all the lights on in your business, get visible, be consistent, keep letting people know how they can work with you. It's really, really simple. It sometimes sounds too simple, but that means that that's the thing to do, right? So I want you to also remember what is consistent to you. The person who is already booked out may only be able to show up once a week, but show up really well. And then the person who has lots of times on her hand, hey, you can show up way more and get that momentum happening. Get visible. Let people see you. Let people get to know you. Go out and meet people in your local community. Connect with more people. This is what is going to bring you in more clients, not just posting on social media. So I want you to think about what is beyond what you've currently been doing, because remember, thank you to Joseph Campbell, who talks about the subconscious mind. 95% of what we thought yesterday is exactly the same as what we're going to think today, unless we choose to change our minds. So what are you changing? I want you to change something today. If something in your business needs to change, write the intention down, take action on it. It's the only way it's going to start to change. It'll feel uncomfortable, but that means you're on the right track. So hopefully this has been super helpful for you. I love that you've joined me today. I love that I am back on the podcast after 6 weeks off. So thank you for waiting, those who have been requesting the podcast. And if you're new around here, go back and listen to some of the earlier episodes. And I would love you to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. It helps me reach more people just like you. And have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next episode.